Hey guys, it's 8:30 and I wanted to come on tonight, and I will be coming on for the next two nights. So I'll come on tonight, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Hey Flo, thanks for joining. Hey Craig, we're finally on the same side of the world. Um, and tonight I wanted to just doing, yeah, Chinatown. Not this time, a Husky Town. Um, Tonight I'm just going to do a quick lesson about the starting to talk about soul wounds. I think I've talked about soul wounds before, but for the next three nights, I just wanted to go a little bit deeper into it because next weekend, I'm so bad with dates, guys. I'm so bad with dates. June 22nd in Edenton, North Carolina. I have access to a beautiful home by the lake, and I'm going to do a women's retreat. So, Craig, tell your wife she can come. It's super, super affordable. Inbox me, and I'll send you the details. Um, and I'm so excited about it because it's a beautiful house by the lake. And hey, Roxy, thanks for coming on. Yeah, I'm here, Craig. You didn't know I was here? Yeah, I've been here now for a couple of weeks. In fact, we leave June 30th, going back to China. But hey, Flo, thanks for coming on. I didn't get the workshop material printed. Oh, that's okay. You can get it anytime. It'll be on the website for a while. This is a workshop that I did in China, but I'm going deeper into it. So here's the thing that's happening. So I'm hoping to start, I want to take this healing journey a little deeper by really helping people to understand. So that I believe in miraculous healing, of course. I know that God can do all things. But I also believe that there are times that we're called to participate in our healing. And I have been blessed with my calling is to talk about like emotions. Hey Linda, thanks for coming on. Emotions, thoughts, behavior, those kind of healings and that kind of journey. So my goal and my hope is to help people have a better understanding and awareness. Like that's my favorite word, awareness, because sometimes we aren't where we want to be, not because we don't know that we want something different, but simply because we're not aware of one, what the problem is, and two, how to come out of it. So that's what my hope is. And so tonight, and I'm just kind of flailing around a little bit, guys, to give more people time to come on, because I invited a lot of people, sent out a massive email, because I think this work is important. But also, I was saying earlier that I am doing this live event on the 22nd in Edenton, North Carolina. It's so affordable, it's ridiculous. Because when I come home, I always want to bless the people that's here. Like in China, I love it. It's work. It's a service, but it's work. But when I'm home, I feel like I'm supposed to serve. And so I try to always create opportunities when I'm here in America to serve. And I've been blessed with a beautiful home out in Edenton, North Carolina, to host a retreat. And so we're going to do a day retreat out there. So if you can, if you're close, hey Robin, thanks for coming on. Thanks. If you can, if you're close, come to Edenton. It'll be well worth the trip. We're going to start at 1. We'll finish at 6. But if you come from out of town and you need somewhere to lay your head, it's a house. So we will be there. And if you need space is limited, but I can absolutely make sure that if you want to come and you want to be there, that we make room for you. Craig, you're welcome. Stick on, stay on. In fact, go out there on Facebook, share it on your page, and invite as many of the ladies that you know onto this that you think can help them. Make sure your wife knows about it. And so if you guys can share out my videos, because I really want to get the word out, and I really want to create this movement where people are excited about healing in their emotional places in life. We oftentimes speak about physical healing, and we think about like salvation and spiritual things. But to me, sometimes we get lost about that. Like, God wants to heal all of us, and he wants to heal our emotions too. So tonight, that's what I'm going to talk about. So I want to talk about, thanks so much for the love. I want to talk about how many times, many of us, and for years, I was definitely a part of this. Like, I would make decisions and I would second guess my decisions. I have so many people in my life who struggle with having intimate relationships. Like, they're good on, thanks for coming on, Pam. They're good on maybe meeting people. I meet people who it's easy for them to meet people, but they really struggle with relationships. And here's what I know about life and my observation, and all I have is my experience in life, guys. So bear with me. Be kind. I'll be kind to you. You be kind to me as I teach this. And I'm learning as I grow. That's what I say. I learn as I grow. That many of us, one, we either don't know who God say we are, or two, we don't believe it, or three, it doesn't resonate with it. So like when I look at scriptures and I look at in Genesis, when God said he created everything. Hey, Leslie, thanks for coming on. Hey, Dre. Hey, baby. So when God created everything at the beginning of creation, and he says he created man in his own image. And then he said, and it was good. Right. So, and then there's in Jeremiah when God says, I knitted you together in your mother's womb, and I know you, like, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. It seems to me somewhere in life we're either not taught that enough or we don't believe that. So it's like God created us fearfully and wonderfully made. He knitted us in our mother's womb. He knows who you are. He created you perfectly the way you are. Not perfect, but perfectly the way you are. And then it seems to me like life happens and we never come into the awareness that God said we were good. We were created in his image and that we were good. And that he said that, I needed you in your mother's womb. I have a plan for you, and that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Somewhere along the lines of teaching and understanding that we was created and sin came into the world and we are all now born into sin, I think, and this is just my opinion, that somewhere many of us have gotten lost in the thought and the belief that we are the sin. Now, there's a difference between if my mother chose to birth me in a birthing pool and the pool had mud in it. Hey, Sharon, thanks for coming on. And I was birthed in the mud. But when I come out, when I'm birthed in the mud, I am not the mud. That's to me how it is with sin. So we focus so much on sin that we never get to the root cause of sin. This is, again, my observation of life in the world and the way I was been able to move into an emotional better place, because I start reading scripture from a love place and not a fear place. And when God speaks to me from his love, when I read scriptures, I'm like, wow, I'm overwhelmed with how much he loves me and that he accepts me for who I am. And that's what I want you guys to get. So tonight, the thought is coming from, I want to get back to who God said we are, but I want to talk about how do we get so far away from who he's saying is? How did we get to a place where we are making decisions, where we second guess ourselves, where we are constantly always feeling insecure, where we don't know how to have relationships? And that happens because life happens to us, right? Some of us were born with two beautiful parents who loved us dearly, who lifted us up, and who did their best. Some of us were born with one parent that was available to us and one that wasn't, or vice versa. But either way, we all have these conflicts that happen in life. And as children, when the conflict comes and when the pain comes and the hurt comes, hey, Melissa, thanks for coming on. When that shows up in our life, somewhere in the pain, in the hurt, we start believing we are the pain and that we are the hurt. And sometimes we're told that you're stupid, you're ugly, you're foolish, you're dumb, you don't know what you're doing. And so now we've lost our identity. Now we don't know that we were fearfully and wonderfully made. Now we don't know that when the scripture says marvelous are his works, it's talking about you. It's talking about me. And so we've lost that, and we've developed what are called soul wounds. So I want you guys to get this. So if you choose to go later to my website and get the book, I want you to be able to answer these questions. And listen, their answers are not for me, they're for you. When we go to writing, when we put pen to paper and answer questions, it takes us deeper into ourselves, and it allows us an opportunity to move into a level of healing and awareness that maybe we can't get to just by listening. So it's great that you're on. Hey Tanya, thanks for coming on. It's great that you're on and you're listening. But what are you going to do with this information after this webinar is done? I want to be effective. I want to see people lives changed by the information I share. And I know that happens when you pen to paper, go to task, and you do the work. So who's ready to do the work with me? Give me some thumbs up, some likes, something. Let me know that you're not just coming on every time I get on, and you're really ready to do the work. Because the reason hey Valerie, thanks for coming on. The reason I do what I do and the reason I target women is because I absolutely believe if I heal a woman, I heal the world. Because women will teach what they know. She's going to teach it to her children. She's going to teach it to her husband in such a loving way that he's going to buy into it, because now she's coming from a healthy, healed heart. But let's talk about the wounds. Okay, let's talk about soul wounds, because that is the area that we need to address that is not oftentimes addressed deep enough. So first, let me talk about what I believe the soul is. Now, there's a lot of teaching that certainly I went into scripture, and it talks about how the soul in different scriptures are the people, and I looked at the Greek word for soul. But for this context, I'm going to talk about the way soul is taught, the way Joyce Myers teaches soul. So our soul is our emotions, it's our thoughts, and it's our behavior. Okay. So these are the areas that many of us don't deal with. This is what I see happening. We struggle in something. Maybe you gamble, right? So maybe you're one of those people who love to go places and you like to gamble. Or perhaps you struggle with pornography, or you have a hot temper. So this is what people do. We talk about you by your behavior, right? So are you guilty of that? I'm guilty of that. I see a person do something and I talk about the behavior. I can't believe they did that. Why did they act like that? Oh my God, well, does she have to get so upset all the time? We focus on the behavior. And so then inwardly, if I'm the person who, like if I know, oh man, like why do I get so angry? Or why do I struggle? Like why do I drink so much alcohol? Why do the little things irritate me? Why can't I have a healthy relationship? I focus on the behavior. Here's what I want us to start focusing on. And here's where the healing happens. The root of the behavior, oftentimes, is a soul wound. Did you guys get that? Let me know that you got it. Like somebody type in the thing, soul wound. Because I'm about to tell you what a soul wound is. So a soul wound is an emotional trauma that happens to us. Most of the time, it happens when we're young in life, and it knocks us off our path, and it makes us it creates in us, yes, Robin, soul wounds. It creates in us false beliefs about who we are. Because God has already said that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous is his works. He knitted you together in your mother's womb. You were created in his image. But then something happens. Someone says something to you, do something to you. Some of us have been abused mentally, emotionally, sexually. Some abuse is neglect. There are different kinds of traumas. There's the trauma of something horrible has happened to me. And we all can identify those traumas. So when our parents maybe go through divorce, or we hear our parents arguing, that trauma, that scary thing. Maybe some of us have survived Yes, thank you, Robin, for posting that there so people can see it. So I mean, yeah, Roxy, thanks for posting it. So some of us have survived storms where we lost homes and we lost everything. These things create in us wounds. Now, this is what the wound does. The wound will create in you a belief that's not true. The belief is contrary to who God says you are. But then, because what happens when a belief gets instilled in our hearts and our minds, we think it's true. We believe because we think about it or because of something that has happened to us, that's evidence. So if you are abused, if you're neglected, that to you is evidence that I'm no good. I'm not worthy. Nobody will love me. And then we start believing that. Are you guys getting it? You start getting. So here's the wound. So the wound is happening. The emotion has been hurt. Now the thought. Now your thoughts are being designed and geared in a place that is telling you you're nothing, you're nobody, you're not worthy, nobody loves you. If God cared, He wouldn't let that happen to you. Now your thought life is all messed up and contorted, okay? And you believing what you think because the evidence for you is what happened to you. So now you don't even, some of you never heard that you was fearfully and wonderfully made. Some of you never knew that you was creating His image because maybe when you go to church you hear so much about sin, sin, sin that people forget to tell you how beautiful and wonderful you are and that you started off great, but life happened and now you've been knocked down. Are you getting it? And so now you think what they say about you. This is a soul wound. And when we think of ourselves as bad, mean, ugly, dirty, diseased, unattractive, unwanted, unloved, unworthy, how do you think we behave? How do you think we behave? And some of us are behaving in such a way that this is why we're struggling in relationships, because the very thing that you want the most is the very thing you push against, because the wound has you believing something different about yourself. I need to know you guys are getting this. I need to know, like, I'm not just talking to myself. Does this make sense to anyone? Is this registering? Is this making you go, oh my God, this is what I've been doing all this time? So I'm going to share a story about this, to the guy, the author of The Shack. So, okay, guys, I'm a huge Super Soul Sunday fan. And I finally got why I love Oprah and Super Soul Sunday. And I know as Christians, many of us think that her teaching does not align with God. That's a different conversation. Okay? But what I want you to get, the reason I watch that show is because it is the one place that people spend time talking about emotions, thoughts, and behavior in such a way that it doesn't seem mystical. To me, that's my experience. So I was watching it this past Sunday with, his name is William Young. He is the author of The Shack. Love that movie. Right. So if a man thinketh, so is he. So how are you thinking? It's so important that we start paying attention to our thinking. And on the show, William shares that he cheated on his wife of all these years, and he cheated with her best friend of all people. But when this was exposed, instead of him hiding behind, oh no, I didn't do it, that wasn't me, he decided, okay, you know what, I'm either going to kill myself, I'm going to tell my wife the whole truth. Because his whole life had been so reaped and instilled in pain that he was hiding who he really was. How many of us have done that? We've had so much pain happen in our past, in our childhood, that we don't believe that if people knew the worst about us, that they could love us. How many have had that? So then we live out this falsehood. And this is where he found himself. But when he went deep and he got honest, the reason, and listen to me, I'm not giving him an excuse for his behavior. None of us get to have an excuse for our behavior because of our wounds. But what we need to understand is that we make decisions from our wounds, guys. And if you're not aware of the wound and you don't make the connection, you keep making the bad decision. I need to know somebody got that. That was a good point. I'm giving y'all some real good meat. I need to know that you're getting it. When you make decisions from your pain, you keep making bad decisions, which keep causing you to create the life you do not want. Thank you. So thanks for the hearts. Now I know that you guys are there with me. I know you're getting it. Because I want to transform some lives, guys. And if I can't get to you one-on-one with individual coaching, then I'm going to do it in these videos as best I can. And I need to know that I'm making a difference. And then I want you guys to spread the word, because we want to heal some people. We want people to come out of making poor decisions, and then whining and crying and being the victim of their life. So what this man realized, he had been abused since he was 6 years old. Sexually abused. Now, abuse, physically sexual abuse, give you messages. It'll tell you you're worthless. Nobody wants you. No one cares. For some people, it tells them there's no way there's a God. Can you imagine a child who's been taught that there's this God who loves them and will protect them and will provide all their needs, and they're being sexually molested or beaten or tortured, and they're praying and begging for this God to show up, and he doesn't show up? So what message do you think a person would get with that? Do you understand the wound that will be created in their life? Now, how do you think they're making their decisions? Do you think this person is going to be easy to trust people? Do you think this person is going to be quick to hear you say, oh, take it to Jesus, when they're an adult? Because they like, look, yo, I took it to Jesus when I was a kid and he didn't show up to help me. So what are you talking about? Do you see how the pain of life will affect your everyday life years later? And this is why you got to know about the soul wound. This is why you got to learn to address the soul wound, so that you can start, now that you know about it, you can go, oh my God, okay, what are my soul wounds? So you guys know. Hey Francis, thanks for coming on. You all know, if you hang out with me, I do my best not to keep you on a video for long. Now this is what I know about myself. I can talk for 3 hours nonstop. I can talk for 3 hours nonstop. I will not do that to you all tonight. So I broke this into 3 different classes. So tonight I'm just bringing you to the awareness of the soul wound. Does everybody know what the soul wound is? And if you don't, you can go back. Pain affects us for the rest of our lives. Yes, but here's the thing. Pain will affect you for the rest of your life. But when you're aware, when you're conscious of the cause of the pain. See, listen to me. If I got hurt when I was 12 years old by, so my soul rejection. I'm rejected at 12. Then I spent all my life making decisions from my rejected place. And then somebody tells me, oh, Kenesha, that's a wound. You don't really feel that way. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. God accepts you. You're loved by, God. And I'll go, oh, I'm loved. I'm loved. I'm loved. Now, when I feel the pain of rejection, I'm now empowered to say, whoa, that's not true. That's not true. I'm not being rejected. It feels like it. It looks like it. But it's because of the way I see the world. My lenses are not clear. So I can't treat this person this way because the 12-year-old me is treating them this way. You guys get it? This is why you got to understand your soul wounds. This is why you get into relationships with people and you reject them before they reject you. That's my story. I get in a relationship, you hurt my feelings, I'm out. And the reason I was out is not because I'm out and I hate you, but because I got to be out of this thing. I got to reject you before you reject me. Because my greatest fear is that you're going to reject me. And that comes from a wound that happened when I was a kid. And now that I'm an adult, I'm still acting the same way. You get it? So how many of you guys have the rejection soul wound? And perhaps you're finding yourself, you're trying to figure out why I don't get along with people. Why? Yes, thank you guys for the likes and hearts. That means I know you're getting it. Hey, Stace, thanks for coming on. You guys got to share out this video because I'm telling you, to me, this is some powerful stuff. I have been so amazed at the learning that I'm getting. And so I just want to give it out because, listen, I want to equip my children to make wiser decisions so that they're not making decisions from their pain place and they're getting to you connect with God. And then you go, okay, Lord, okay, Holy Spirit, I think right now I got this decision in front of me and I'm scared. And so instead of making the decision from my fear, I'm not going to move until you tell me it's time to move. Because my vision, my thoughts, my emotions are all blurred. And I make some real bad decisions. And my behavior is all crazy because I got these wounds. So I want to give my wounds to you. So this is what I want to do. But before you can give God the wound, you got to be able to identify it. So tomorrow night, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list for you guys the different soul wounds and the symptoms of the soul wound. So come back tomorrow. Like, don't just hang out with me tonight and be like, okay, that was cool, Kanisha, and I'm done. But for tonight, I just really want to stick around, want you guys to stick around so that you can understand now. Okay, now I know. Kanisha done told me about these soul wounds. I know that there's some hurt in my past. There's some emotional stuff that has never been addressed. And maybe I've buried it down so far into my subconscious, I don't even know what it is. But here's how you know that it's there. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where something makes you upset, but instead of you going like, okay, that's a little offense, you take it way, and people are like, whoa, like, why did that make you so angry? Because, like, to everyone else in the room, this was a small thing, but now you're blowing it out of the water. And if it haven't happened, if you're not the person who do that, haven't you experienced that? You experience something, you say something, and you thinking, oh, it's not that big, like, oh, girl, that ain't funny, or that ain't cute. And then next thing, you being cursed out by the person, you're like, whoa, I didn't even know we was this, like, where did that come from? So here's the thing. This is why I love working with my friend Hannah, who does yoga. And, like, I don't know if I'm going to take a yoga class, guys, but listen, in the sense of learning it. What I love about yoga is that yoga talks about our body, right? And what I'm learning, and what I absolutely know, is like the body doesn't forget pain. The body, the memory of emotional hurt is somewhere in your body. It's somewhere in your body. And when a person triggers something from your past, right? So they trigger something from your past, you're maybe not even aware of the past, and you react, your emotion is way bigger than what they just triggered. It's because your body is remembering that hurt. And so your reaction, your emotion is happening from the history of it, not just from the present time that's happening now. This is why we gotta get aware of who am I? Who am I? What am I carrying in my body? Why am I so affected? Why did I get so upset with little things? Why am I always irritated? Why everybody get on my nerve? Right? Like, everybody shouldn't get on your nerve. Why does the small thing a waitress do make me, forget it? Like, really, like, it's mistakes happen. So I want you to get clear, because here's what's happening. Now you're getting into relationships, and you're going to either draw to yourself who you are. So think about that. Like, what if you are just a emotional mess? Guess what you're going to draw to yourself? You're going to draw to yourself emotional mess. And I believe that God does that to be a reflection, to show us ourselves. So I draw to me what I am. And now, instead of me dealing with what I am, I'm trying to fight against it. So you're in these relationships and you fighting, trying to get this dude or this woman to change, when God is going, I just want you to see yourself. I want you to see yourself. Because the thing that's in them that's hurting, it's the thing that's in you that's hurting. And when both of you guys are willing to, one, address the hurt, bring it to me, I can heal it. And I'm going to make this relationship a really beautiful thing. But we're not taught to enter relationship that way. We're taught to enter relationship for happy, for fun, for excitement, for love, for all the good stuff. Not realizing that it's this beautiful place for healing. So the thing before I leave today, I want to make sure you have, because like I said, I try not to keep you guys on long. I so honor your time. I respect that you would take and spend it with me. And as I'm about to close up, guys, type with me some of the things that you've learned tonight. Show me some of your aha moments. Let me know a takeaway for you. Let me know that you came on and I gave you something valuable that you either didn't know before, or that you hadn't thought about it that way, or wow, this is something now that I can use to change my life. So type for me anything, whether it's wow, maybe my thinking is like a little, my thinking is so far from the way God sees me. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are his works. You're created in his image. Do you see yourself that way? Or do you see yourself as, I'm a mess, I can't get nothing right, nothing ever goes right in my life, I'm stupid, I'm worthless? Do you see yourself that way? Because you are not what people told you are. Relationships are for healing. Yes, thanks Roxy. Roxy getting some stuff. Guys, I see you out there. Stacy, Fran, I know you guys are out there. What are you guys getting from this? So I just want you to get that, one, healing is available. Always available. But listen, this is something that I find, it seems to me, like a lot of Christians have a hard time with. My experience. We don't want to believe that healing is a participation sport. The body doesn't forget pain. Yes, that's right, friend. The body, it doesn't forget. You know what's so interesting? Think about this. Think about a time when you walk and you hit your toe on the bed. You maybe can't really remember the pain, that physical pain, but then think about a time that someone broke your heart. Like that'll come up for you just like it happened yesterday. The body doesn't forget emotional pain. It's stored somewhere in your body, and if you aren't addressing it, if it's an ugly pain, if it's a hurtful pain, it can manifest into disease. So disease is dis-ease in the body, and that's a whole nother lesson. But this is why I spend my time when I am hurting and people have hurt me. I do this thing where I'll sit and I just try to pour forgiveness, and then I try to pour gratitude with hopes of releasing from my body any dis-ease, so that my body doesn't hold on to resentment, anger, and pain, and then attaches itself somewhere in my body as cancer, tumors, high blood pressure, whatever, ulcers. I don't want my emotions to manifest dis-ease in my body. So that's why I talk about soul wounds, and I want you to address them so that we can start healing and being in line with who God called us to be. I learned that how pain does affect our lives. So often we don't want to deal with the pain. Flo, you just said it. You just said it. Oh my God. Like, I wish we were taught. This is what I want people to start teaching about pain. That is a natural part of life. We spend so much of our life trying to avoid pain. And just because you avoid something doesn't mean that you're not experiencing it. You know, when I was doing this work, this is what came to me. God, a soul wound is like internal bleeding. You ever meet, like, you know, and all I know for internal bleeding, because praise God, I haven't had the experience, but like when I watch television shows about medical stuff, right? The people come in and they're hurt. They're like, oh, my stomach is so much pain. And they're looking for something in the stomach. And then they later find out your stomach is hurting because blood is pouring into it. And if we don't resolve this fast, you're going to die. That's what a soul wound is like. It's hurting other parts. So it's being expressed in your anger, in your behavior, in your addictions, in your hiding, in your smiling and pretending everything is all right when everything is not all right. So it's showing up in your life as false behavior or as reckless behavior, but we so busy addressing the behavior. How many times when our siblings, loved ones, thanks for the hearts, because that's what's happening. So how many times when our loved ones are going through something, especially like addiction or something like that, and we just, I don't know why they can't stop. I don't know why they act this way. It doesn't make sense. It's just stupid. They've been doing this 20 years. How about let's start going, where are you hurting? What's hurting you? And they may say, I don't know. And maybe they push the hurt down so long that they think they don't know, but the body doesn't forget. I tell my clients whenever they say, I don't know, Kenesha, I don't know is where truth hides. You do know. So let's start saying to people when their behaviors, especially in relationships, when your spouse is behaving in a way to you that seems reckless or hurtful, guess what? Maybe they have a soul wound that needs to be addressed. And listen, if you haven't addressed your soul wounds, you can't help them in their soul wounds, because now the two wounds just showing up. Everybody just fighting and trying to win the fight because you're fighting about the behavior and you're not looking at the root of the thing. So listen, if you guys have been blessed by this message, let somebody else know. Share the message out. Again, thank you for coming on. If you have any questions, send them to me. If you have not gone on the page and got the workbook, you don't even have to print it out. Just see the questions and get your own journal and write in your journal the answers to these things. And some of it you may can't answer because, like I said, this is a 3-part teaching, and the questions may be answered tomorrow night and then Thursday night. But I so appreciate you guys coming on. I want to see healthy, heal people so that we can have healthy, heal relationships, so that we can create healthy, heal children, and we can just have this beautiful life where God is going, yes, my children are getting it, and they're staying connected to me, because when we're healthy and healed, we stay connected to Him. When we're in our shame, in our pain, in our hurt, in our resentment, some of us will run from God because we think like we can't, oh my God, I can't take that to God. I can't take my addiction to God. I can't take my pornography to God. I can't. And see, now we're focused on the behavior and not the wound. And so we think we can't take the behavior to God. Listen to me. He already knows. He's okay with it. He accepts you. He just wants you to connect with Him so that He can heal that thing in you. Be blessed, guys. Be blessed. Be kind to one another. Address your own wounds. Come back tomorrow. I'm going to list them for you. I talked about rejection tonight. Tomorrow, I talked about abuse. Those are 2. There are other wounds that you're dealing with. And we're going to talk about what the wounds are and how they are playing out in your life. You don't want to miss this teaching. Thanks again for coming on. Have a beautiful, beautiful night. Sleep well, be wonderful, and love one another. Bye-bye. Thanks again.